What's going on, guys? My name is Trencher and welcome back to another video here on the channel. And today I actually have a kind of serious video to talk to you guys about something that has been going on in my life for I guess about a year now. It's pretty much almost been a year by the time I am recording this video, and you guys will probably see this video a few days after I get done recording this audio. So first of all, I'm just going to get straight into it. Basically, the reason why I've been gone for pretty much a year is because I have been homeless. It's not really something that I'm uncomfortable with talking about because it's something that happened in my life, and to be able to move on to the future. You pretty much have to just, accept what has happened in your life and get over it, basically. And that's basically what I've done. So, basically, I'm going to explain to you guys, basically what all happened and why I'm returning now. So, with that being said, again, let's just get straight into it. So, basically, first of all, the reason why I became homeless is because me and my family, we were living in a house in North Carolina at the time, and basically, we were running low on money. My grandma lost her job, and my mom wasn't really getting good hours or good payment for those hours that she was working. And so basically, after my grandma lost her job, it was basically just me and my mom working. Now I was working at a retirement community part-time, and at the time I was still 17, so I wasn't able to get a full-time position where I was working. So that kind of made it difficult for me to kind of boost my payment and be able to help out with the bills and stuff like that to where we could keep our house. But basically, I'd say about maybe a month or two after my grandma lost her job, we got a notice in the mail that we were being evicted. And we had a certain amount of days, I can't remember how much exactly, I think it might have been 30 days, to basically get our stuff, get out of the house, and that was basically it. So my grandma, she ended up calling up one of her friends that she used to work with, and that person was living in South Carolina at the time, and so basically she called him up and said, "Hey, can I come and stay with you?" And they were good friends at the time, whenever they worked together. So, she decided to call him. He said, "Yeah, sure, I'll come down and pick you up." And, again, we were living in North Carolina, and he was living in South Carolina, so it wasn't that far of a distance, but it was still a pretty far distance, a whole nother state over. So one day he came, picked her up, and, she left. So, also I was living with my sister and my mom, but I'd say a few months before that, my sister had gone to live with her dad in Pennsylvania. So basically, after my grandma left, it was me and my mom left, and of course our 7 or 8 cats that we had. If you guys remember, if you've seen earlier videos on my channel, you would know I had a pretty decent amount of cats, and it's not really something that was kind of, I guess, right for a living situation, because the house we were staying in, we couldn't have any pets. So 1, that might have been fine. 2, still probably would have been fine. But 7 or 8, that's kind of pushing it, okay? So I admit that, but it wasn't exactly my plan to, keep the cats with us and stuff like that. So me and my mom, after my grandma left, we pretty much just tried making the best of it. We knew we probably couldn't keep the house, even if we had, made up some money and been like, "Hey, we have some money, can we just give you the money, for the, amount of rent that we've missed?" And, we kind of figured that they probably wouldn't accept that, so we just didn't even think about it. We stayed in the house as long as we could, There was a point where our internet got shut off because I wasn't able to pay the bill. So, internet was gone. And so I ended up having to sell my laptop, my PlayStation, which really kind of hit me because that was like one of the first things I had bought whenever I first got my job back in 2015. Or I guess I should say 2016, because I got my job whenever I was 15 and a half. I know the half doesn't really count, but I was almost 16 at the time, so that's what I'm saying. But that was one of the first things that I had bought with, I think, maybe my second paycheck. So, it kind of hit me. But, I had to sell my laptop, my PlayStation. I kept my Xbox for a good bit of time. And I can't remember if I still have it in a storage unit or not. I still can't remember if I sold that too, but during the last, I guess, week or so we were in the house, basically, I didn't really have anything to do except for work, and then whenever I came home, it was literally nothing. Me and my mom had ended up moving our furniture and stuff into a storage unit, so we didn't have any furniture, no beds, nothing. So basically all we had was just blankets and some pillows to lay on the floor and sleep. And the only thing I had left was my Xbox and some offline games to play, like Call of Duty World War II, which, if you guys remember, the first videos that I have ever uploaded to the channel was Call of Duty World War II campaign walkthrough videos. And, the time that I only had my Xbox and no internet, all I did was play the World War II campaign, and I actually ended up finishing it. And to be honest, it makes me kind of regret not finishing the World War II campaign on PlayStation, which is what I was recording the videos on. So, I mean, it was a good campaign. I loved it. It was just perfect, in my opinion. But, yeah, all I had to do for, I guess, fun time, I guess you could say, was just play Xbox. And that was pretty much it. And then the time finally came where we were like, okay, time's coming to where we got to get out of the house. And my mom actually ended up asking her friend if we could stay with them, and he said yeah. And before then, I didn't even really like this guy because he was kind of an asshole. I'm just gonna say it. He was kind of an asshole. I mean, I can kind of get why he was, but at the same time, there was still no excuse to kind of be an asshole to us, which I will explain later on in this video. And again, I'm not going to try and make this video, super long. I'll try and make it maybe like 15 minutes or something, maybe even 20 to 25 minutes, but basically, we ended up going and staying with them, and I was still keeping my job and working, same thing with my mom, and I was just doing all that I could. And, we stayed there for, I'd say maybe 2 or 3 months, maybe. And it wasn't exactly the best living conditions. I mean, there wasn't really anything wrong with the house, but it was just the people that we were staying with that kind of made it, kind of a hellhole in a way. They were living in a kind of a shitty neighborhood. Alright, there was gang activity going on. There were people selling drugs and shit. And to be honest, the guy that we were living with, he sold fucking weed. So, I mean, he would have people come in the house all the time, buying from him and shit. And, but let me go back to why he was kind of an asshole, or at least some of the reason. Basically, he only had one arm. I mean, he had 2 arms, but one of them didn't work because he had, I guess a few years ago, he had gotten into a car crash, and, basically he lost all, feeling and stuff in his arm. So basically, he only had one arm to use. And, since he still had the arm and couldn't get it amputated or anything, I guess it, gave him pain and stuff, so, I don't know. But, he was still an asshole. And, like I said, I can get kind of why he was, but again, that's still no excuse. So basically, we'd been staying there for 2 or 3 months, and on and off, they would kind of get pissed off at us for pretty much no reason at all. And to be honest, I was kind of just like, I want to get the fuck out of here, get my own place, so I can just live peacefully and not have to worry about stupid bullshit. Yeah, we'd been staying there 2 or 3 months, and then one day, whenever I was working, it was actually at night, and I was working the closing shift, and we were about to start closing down and stuff like that, and my mom, she had actually ended up coming to my work and told me, hey, we don't have a place to stay tonight. And I was like, son of a fucking bitch. And, I was like, alright, guess we have nowhere to stay tonight. And basically that night we had ended up sleeping in the car. Mind you, with 7 or 8 cats, we had ended up keeping the cats. My grandma took one of them, so we ended up having about 6 or 7 cats after that. So basically, we were sleeping in the car, but I'd say about an hour or so before, I had actually gotten off of work, so about an hour or so before we had ended up going to sleep in the car, my mom called her other friend, who lives in Pennsylvania, which, if you guys don't know, I'm originally from Pennsylvania, so, my mom still had some friends here, and she called her up, and her friend said, yeah, I'll pay for you guys to come down, because at the time we didn't have any money, so she was like, yeah, I'll pay for you guys to come down, you can stay with me until you get back on your feet. So we were like, alright. And so she was going to send us the money in a money order the next day in the morning. So we slept in the car, and it was kind of difficult to go to sleep for me in the car because, it smells like piss and shit. Cat piss and shit. And it wasn't, it wasn't good. But I finally went to sleep. I ended up waking up about maybe 3 or 4 in the morning, and I ended up having to work in the morning, the next morning. But I'd say about earlier that week I ended up giving my 2-week notice because we had previously had plans to go down to Pennsylvania and stay with that friend. But since we didn't have any place to stay that night, we called her up and said, hey, can we do this tomorrow? And like I said, she agreed. So we ended up going to the store, and we waited to try and get the money order, and the place that we went, they didn't do money orders, so we had to find a place that did. We went and got the money order. We got money to get some food to eat for breakfast, and basically then after that we went back to my work and we told them, hey guys, I know I put in my 2-week notice, but we I'm gonna have to quit right here and now because we didn't have a place to stay last night, and our friend, she offered to let us stay with her, and that's all the way in Pennsylvania, and they were pretty cool about it. They did like me. I was a good worker, good hard worker, but at that time I'd actually turned 18, and so I'd say a week before I put in my 2-week notice, I tried asking for a full-time position, but unfortunately they didn't have any positions available, so I was stuck working part-time, and like I said, I wasn't making any good money through that. But they were like, alright, you guys gotta do what you gotta do. It was nice working with you, da-da-da-da-da. And so, I ended up quitting, and from then on out, we made our trip to Pennsylvania. And I can't even remember how long the ride was. I think it was like maybe 8 hours or so, 8 to 10 hours, and basically we had drove a good distance. We ended up driving through West Virginia, and while we were still in West Virginia on our way to Pennsylvania, we were actually somewhat close to Pennsylvania at the time. But yeah, on our way through West Virginia, it was snowing, and I guess there was some ice on the road. My mom was driving slow, and mind you, it was at night. But we were driving on the highway, and I was kind of taking a nap because, again, I had got up early that morning, and I was just fucking tired. But we were driving, and then just out of nowhere, our car just gets clipped in the back on the passenger side, and I woke up like about maybe 5 seconds before we got hit, which I don't even know how that's even possible that I just woke up 5 seconds before we got hit. But we got hit, we were in the left lane, so we ended up sliding into the guardrail that divided both lanes, the side going towards us and then the side that we were on. We hit the guardrail, we spun, and then we hit the other guardrail on the right side of the highway, still on our side, and then that's where we came to a complete stop. Luckily, we weren't hurt. Our car was totaled, though, and the guy who hit us, he was in a big lifted Chevy, and I think it was the front driver's side wheel that actually ended up coming straight off his fucking truck. But, I mean, he was hurt. He had like a scratch on his forehead, and he was bleeding. Sorry that I just hit the mic. But yeah, I mean, it was just... That was probably one of the scariest moments in my life, because I didn't know if I was going to live after that or not, because I didn't know how serious of a crash it was going to be during that time. But we were all right. Police came, and a trucker actually had footage in his dash cam to show what happened. And he showed the police that and everything, gave the report. My mom called her friend to see if she could come and pick us up, and she said yeah. And the tow truck driver that was actually towing our car, he actually ended up taking us to a gas station that was not far down the highway, but it was back towards where we were coming from. And so we waited there for about maybe an hour, maybe even 2 to 3 hours for my mom's friend to come and get us. And it was winter at the time, so it was just freezing fucking cold. And we waited there. She finally came, and she picked us up. We got everything out of our car, all the important stuff, and we started heading for her house. Now here's where it gets kind of shitty. As soon as we got in the car and started driving, my mom's friend just started flipping all shit. She basically started yelling at my mom saying, "Oh, we didn't have to come down here and pick you guys up. I have a daughter at home." And da-da-da-da-da, and it's like, excuse me, can you, chill the fuck out, please? We almost just pretty much died. We got in a car crash. We almost died. And, no, she wouldn't fucking chill out. And she was saying that it was dangerous for her and her friend to come up here because neither one of them had a fucking valid license because they had both gotten DU fucking I's. For, smoking weed while driving and shit. And I'm just like, are you people fucking retarded? We thank you for coming down here and taking that risk. But how can you be so fucking retarded to get a DUI? And it's just like... And she had been driving... She drives to work. She drives to work in her car, da-da-da-da-da. But, whatever. So... And mind you, her daughter is the same age as me. She's 18, so she acts like it's, she can't be away from her daughter for, an hour or so. And I'll get into more of that later in this video. But basically, we ended up finally getting to her house, and I was just like, I need to go to sleep. I can't deal with this shit. This bitch is crazy. So... And the thing is that she had the nerve to say that I was fine. Yet she doesn't know what the fuck I've been through. And it's just like, you don't know what's going on in my mind, and you don't know what I've been through. Or if you do know what I've been through, you sure as hell don't know what the fuck's going on in my mind. And she's like, oh yeah, he's fine. He'll deal with it. And in my mind, I'm like, you have no idea what I've gone through, bitch. So I ended up going to sleep. Woke up the next morning. I think everything was fine. But there were times where I would, go to sleep, and then I'd wake up in the morning, and she would just be raising hell, yelling at my mom for no fucking reason, saying we weren't doing anything, yet the whole time we were staying with her, we were trying to find jobs, and we had interviews, we were trying to get transportation, but, we had to go and get the applications, but she wouldn't even offer to give us rides. And even when we asked, she'd say, no, I can't do that for you, to go and get those things done. And so it's just like, okay, you want to bitch about us not doing anything, yet we are, and to try and do those things, you won't even give us a ride. But yet you have no problem driving your car to work and, going out to the bar and shit like that, but yet you won't, do something as important as, giving us a ride to go and get some important shit done instead of your stupid bullshit. And, it just kind of pissed me off. And then there was one morning, I woke up, I heard her, once again, yelling at my mom for no fucking reason. And I started walking down the stairs, and next thing you know, I see her walking towards my mom with a metal baseball bat. And I was just like, are you fucking serious? And so, she had the balls to look up at me. I was on the stairs, she had the balls to look up at me, and I was just looking at her with a fucking menacing look, like an anime look, like menacing anime look. Which I'm not trying to make it a joke, because it sure as hell wasn't at that time. But I was just staring at her like that. I was like, try me, bitch. I will beat the shit out of you. Like, I don't authorize, or I can't even think of the word. I don't authorize, hitting women or anything like that. But at that time, I felt like that's what I was going to do if she even tried anything on my mom or even me. But, and then, things de-escalated, things were normal, and then she was basically like, you guys gotta get the fuck out of my house. And basically, we tried calling a family member to see if they could come and get us. They said they'd probably be here in about maybe an hour or two. So we ended up sitting on our back porch in the freezing fucking cold with our cats, and it was just freezing. But I'm actually going to speed this up here, guys. So basically, no one ended up coming for us. She ended up coming back from work for a little break, and she saw that we were still on her back porch. She let us in, and she said, alright, whatever, try and get your ride here. But again, no one came, and so we ended up staying at her house for about another week. But then there was a day, my mom just couldn't take staying with her anymore. She called up another friend and asked if we could go and stay with her. She said yeah. She came and picked us up, and we ended up going to her house. And that place was actually much better because her kids I had actually ended up growing up with and played with them a lot. So, it was kind of like, hey, fresh breath of air. We stayed with them for a good bit, and again, nothing was really wrong there. Her kids were kind of a little bit too much, but, whatever. I actually had the joy of being able to play video games again because they had PlayStations and Xboxes. So I was able to do that, and, yeah, that was basically it. And then I'd actually made plans to get my GED because if you guys didn't know, I dropped out of school in the 7th grade. So I had ended up planning on getting my GED, had everything set up, and my uncle had actually called and he said, hey, you can come and stay with us if you want to. And I was like, you know what, that's sure as hell better than staying here. And my uncle, I had, growing up, I had come over to his house on the weekends a lot to, hunt and stuff like that. and just hang out with my cousins. Did a bunch of stuff with them, camping, things like that. So I was like, you know what, yeah, I'd like to do that stuff again. And long story short, that's where I am now. I'm here in Pennsylvania, staying with my uncle right now, and things are really good. I have a job. I'm getting my GED. A few months ago, I just bought a truck. I'm planning on getting my permit actually next week as I'm recording this, and soon after that, my license. And so, things are going pretty well for me here. And as you guys can see by this video, I am wanting to upload YouTube videos again, but this time, just as a hobby. Now, my internet is kind of shit, so I won't be able to upload regularly, but if you guys follow me on Twitter, you guys probably know that recently I tweeted that the main videos that I'm going to be posting here on the channel, they're pretty much just going to be like video projects. They're going to be maybe 25 to even 30-minute long videos talking about, games, reviewing games, things like that, and, whatever. But that's pretty much all there is for this video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy, and hopefully, if anyone is going through the situation that I've been through, hopefully this video inspires you to, to think like, hey, things can get better. You just have to try your ass off to get things to where they need to be. But again, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification button to make sure you never miss an upload from this channel, because I do plan on uploading more videos. And also, make sure you follow me on Twitter. I will have a new link in my channel description and in the video description for you guys to click on and go and follow my Twitter. I made a new one. But anyways, guys, with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. See ya.